getting into the Passover. When God is finally ready now, where he is truly going to show his power. The Pharaoh has gone back on his word every single time there is a plague. He said, yes, I'll let him go. And as soon as Moses took that plague away, he went back on his word. His heart was hardened, and he did not let his people go. When the Passover comes, God gives Moses a direction to tell the Israelites to put the blood above the doorpost. He is going to pass over that whole land. And unless that blood is on the doorpost, all of the firstborn male child will be killed. And it's during the middle of the night when everybody starts to realize that their firstborn male child is dead. And you're hearing all the wailing going on out in the houses, and it just wakes up the whole community. And that's to the point when Pharaoh says, get out of here. He says, I've had enough of you. Get away from me. He has just totally had enough. So now as he's gone ahead and he's going to let them go, the Exodus is going to begin. Moses is now shown that he was born during a time when babies were being killed, and he lived. He's also shown that as a man, he killed another man, and he was being hunted for his life, so he ran. He's gone to this land called Midian, and as he's been in Midian, he sees the burning bush, and God speaks to him and says, I'm going to use you to deliver my people out of bondage and make them a great nation. And Moses is faithful, he's obedient, and he goes. And he goes back into Egypt. He meets up with the new Pharaoh, and he tells him to let my people go. And the Pharaoh has hardened his heart so much, so all these plagues are now coming upon him. And when it comes down to where the Passover happens, he finally lets them go. And guess what happens? After the babies have all been killed, he lets them go. The people are free. They're starting to go out, and they're thinking that, wow, we got it. We're safe. And then look what happens. They look behind them, and the chariots and the Pharaoh's men are all starting to follow. And the people are complaining. They're saying it would have been better to stay a slave than to die out here with their freedom. See, how many times have you done that? How many times have you been walking with Christ and you've been saying, you know what? I liked my life better back when I was living in my sin. I liked my life better when I was doing those things I shouldn't have been doing. How many times have you done that? Or have you totally looked at God and waited for his direction, given yourself to him and said, Lord, I will follow you wherever you take me? Because God is about to do a wonderful thing. Moses now takes these people, these Israelites. They are panicking and they are scared that they're going to die. He comes up. He come up to the Red Sea, holds out the rod, and the waters part. And the people start to go across dry land. They get over to the other side. Moses turns around, holds his rod up again, and as all the Pharaoh and the chariots and all these men are following through there, the waters come crashing down on them, and it kills every single one of them. The Israelites have just been saved again. They have seen a mighty power that came from God, that could come from nowhere else, and it's something that you would think that, wow, this is totally going to change their life. And yet, they're going to do it again. They're going to complain. We have no food. We have no water. Oh, it would have been better to just stay back there. Have you got a problem with complaining? Have you got a problem with just saying that, oh, my life just stinks. I hate my life. Let me tell you something. If you've got water to drink, you're blessed. If you've got a roof over your head, you're blessed. If you've got something to eat and put in your tummy, you're blessed. You're not being persecuted for your faith. You don't have anybody knocking your doors down trying to kill you because you're a Christian. Oh, you're so blessed. Why the complaining? The complaining comes because we don't want to give up our old way of living. And you will find that for the most part, anybody who is going through these difficult times, it's because they do not want to give up their old way of living. Now, there could be times when Satan has asked God to sift somebody, and God has allowed it. And that could happen to a righteous person just like it did to Job. But for the most part, you're going to find many times it's because of people love their sin, and they want to go back to it, and they miss it. And they don't want to seek after righteousness. They don't want to seek after holiness. They have no fear of God, because they don't fear that their God that they worship will do anything to them. As we continue into the story, we're going to see that that's not always going to be the case. So Moses has made that trip to Midian. He has returned back through the Sinai and come back into Egypt. He has now gathered all of his people, and they're heading back. They're going to the promised land, and God is going to direct them to it, but first they have to get over the Red Sea. As they get through the Red Sea from the parting of the water, and then the waters come down and it kills all the Pharaoh and all of his men, they are now in a safe area. No longer are they being pursued. So as they start to complain that, oh, we don't have this, we don't have this, well, first off, they needed water. Well, God provided the water. Moses was able to have the water come out and to help them. Moses brought, here we go,